Alright, gang. Here's the question I want to ask you, chat. I know a lot of people were psyched about hunting quests coming back, in particular. Mainly because of, we've got this massively, I'm going to turn this down a bit, we've got this massively increased drop rate for all of these materials, like these horseshoes, these EXP cards, even instances of randomly getting QP. So my question to you, chat, is simply this. Should these rotating hunting quests be a permanent fixture in Fate Grand Order? Should we add hunting quests to the current daily rotation so that we see different hunting quests for different class EXP cards, as well as different materials, including the higher rarity ones, rotating every single week? Wow, okay. I'm seeing these guesses. I agree. I absolutely agree. It's got things to do with just FGO's general progression and how rewards and progression are super, super important. Feeling like you as a player are constantly moving forward. And I think the addition of hunting quests on top of this would really help to push us in that direction. Make us feel like more that we are going in that forward-moving direction. You have, of course, stages in general where you are able to farm certain pieces of Ascension materials. But let's go ahead and take a look. So the most practical node to farm these reactor cores of Dawn from is a Pristine Sky, Sin, Prison Camp, Lost Belt 3. And the average drop rate in order to get one reactor core of Dawn is you need to spend at least 104 AP. On average, if you spend 104 AP, after you spend all that, that is when you are going to get that reactor core of Dawn. The stage itself takes 21 AP to run, which means that if we do just some quick little division, 104 divided by 21 AP, that is looking at 4.9. We'll just round that up to 5. So 5 runs. Every 5 runs of that stage, you should be looking at 1 reactor core of Dawn. Whereas you've seen here, we have been running 1 instance of Centaur Hunt Pride rank. Yes, that 1 instance did cost 40 AP, more than 21. But for the price of 2 runs for reactor cores of Dawn, we received anywhere between 1 and 5 horseshoes per run. So I think you can already see not just a little difference, this absolutely absurd difference. I do realize that cores are a gold mat, so they won't drop as much as horseshoes, but it's the same principle if we had, say, a hunting quests where you farm hearts, hunting quests where you farm pretty much any gold materials. Now, one of the big reasons I'm mentioning this is I've been like, I like reading about like breaking games and how games are built and all that in my spare time, and I'm reading some stuff about like progression in gameplay. There was one guy actually talking about games in general, and when you don't feel like the progression rewards are good enough, it kind of slows you down when it comes to playing the game. If the game progression feels either lost or feels like it's starting to go backwards, that's when you start to have a problem. And I do see this. I really don't believe that this is just a minority group being loud for the sake of things. But I do see people. I do get people in the chat. I do get people talking to me in DMs. I do see people talking on Twitter too, on top of that, about how it doesn't even feel worth it to farm materials sometimes outside of events. The drop rate is just so low, so much AP is wasted, and it just doesn't seem like using any sort of stamina boosting material is actually worth it. So rather than continuing to invest that time into progressing in that game, leveling up your characters, making your characters overall more powerful, making your characters ascended, better skills, whatever, rather than choosing to invest the time to do that, wanting to invest the time to do that, a lot of players do feel like, rather than do that, I should just wait until an actual opportune time. And I really don't think that's good, and I don't think that's healthy for any game, period, including FGO. I gotta go let my cat out. I'll be right back. I wasn't lying. Say hi to Patches. I'm gonna go ahead and let him out. Come on, dude. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yes, momentum. Momentum. You don't want the momentum of your game to either slow down or end up feeling like the player's going backwards. You don't want your game in general to feel like the player hits any sort of stopgap. Now, I know what some people, maybe in the chat and even on the comments on YouTube later, are going to say, but Justin, I hit stopgaps all the time. I have attempted to play Dark Souls. I have attempted to play XJRPG on Nightmare Mode. I have attempted to play all these other games, and I hit stopgaps. But the difference between hitting a stopgap on materials in Fate Grand Order and hitting a stopgap in another game is that there is not a finite amount of something that may end up preventing you from overcoming it. If you're stuck on Bloodstarved Beast in Bloodborne, you can keep farming for blood motes, you can keep learning your weapons, trying to get better at the game, fighting the boss repeatedly, learning the matchup, and then eventually you will overcome that. If you end up getting stuck, say, in any other typical RPG, you can go ahead, you can level up, you can get better weapons for your characters, and you can go back and eventually you will beat that boss, even if it's just through sheer strength and sheer willpower alone. With a lot of gacha games, and FGO in particular, I'm finding this being an issue in like My Hero Academia Ultra Impact, just anything with a stamina system. You end up hitting this point, if you're either really unlucky, don't have the ability to progress or anything like that, where you're like, well, my AP is all gone. I actually cannot attempt to do this anymore. I actually have to wait. All I can do is wait. And this is not being constructive. This is not pushing me forward as a player. This is not me waiting because for some reason me waiting is going to make my character stronger. None of it. And I know, if I had my way, if I got to implement this change in DW, some people might be worried. Some people might be worried that the addition of such a strong farming method for specific materials would overall hurt and affect the imbalance of the game. You're getting this new influx of EXP cards, you're getting this new influx of materials, and overall, you're leveling up characters a lot faster. What if that has the potential to ruin the balance of FGO and make challenge quests maybe seem trivial and make harder content seem trivial, lost spell bosses seem trivial, whatever. There is a difference between balance in a multiplayer game or balance in a single player game. For games like the recently released My Hero Academia Ultra Impact, I can understand why they have some methods in there to stifle growth, because there is a PvP element. I can understand that in the Marvel games, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, pretty much anything that has a PvP element, having something in there to stifle growth is a way to make sure that you don't have someone immediately rushing to the front of the pack in PvP and then just dominating for the rest of time. Like, just they are so far ahead that nobody has any sort of potential to catch up to them. With FGO, we only have to worry about our own progression, our own levels, and on top of that, our own other players through cooperative events. The only multiplayer stuff I've really seen in FGO has been cooperative stuff where the whole server works together. I really don't think that would have a negative impact on that. Sure, people might be farming faster, but Barbados still died very, very quickly. We still have instances of challenge quests where players, myself included, who I've done in the past, can beat some of the most difficult bosses with a little bit of know-how with one character they've sunk a bunch of time and experience into, a bunch of those materials into. I fail to see why doing this. I fail to see why maybe increasing drop rates, including a craft essence to increase drop rates for special materials, EXP cards, or otherwise. They already do it for QP. I mean, I fail to see how that could adversely affect FGO. I feel like, if anything, that would only help it. That would only make players feel more engaged. That would only make players happier to level their increasingly large roster of servants. That would only make players happier to increase the skills of their increasingly large roster of service. I think it would make people happier all around to do something like this, and I don't think it would do anything in a big way to trivialize or harm the game or make the game feel like it's just handing stuff out. I don't think so. I really don't.